the post-election pendulum check video, yeah, that's really difficult to say. It went really well. And we've been having a lot of good interactions. There's a lot of great questions going on, some good conversations going on. And there's several things that I want to bring back to the table and leave with you before I move on to the next round of doing the next pendulum check, which I anticipate might be sometime this weekend. And you guys gave me so many great questions. I have 3 pages worth of questions to be working with. Number 2, the one question that I will not entertain is the question about the country splitting apart and there being violence. I will not entertain that question. I've already tuned in on that question, and it's come solidly back that the United States stays together. We stay together. So we're not going to put any energy into things breaking apart or civil wars or revolutions or guns. Like, we're not going to do that. So just don't even go there. I'm not going to entertain that question anymore. Then the other interesting repeat question that kept coming up, and I love this question, and it is the question about, but Dana, what about false positives, and aren't you pendulum checking through your own wishes? And what about your subconscious mind? What about hope and faith and prayer? And those are great questions. And anytime that I am doing a pendulum check, that's at the top of my mind. That is at the top of my mind, that I am getting accurate information, because then why even do it in the first place? So you need to know, all of you who are looking at my work and considering my work and discerning it, and yes, you need to be discerning it for yourselves and digesting it. What I want you to know about is my process. And through learning my process, that will also help you with your process. And it will also help you understand that pendulum checks are not like a one-shot deal. To me, pendulum checks and working with a pendulum is more of a practice, and it's a way of life. So what you need to know about me is that when I pick up and work with a pendulum, it feels very much like an extension of my hand and my arm. A pendulum for me, it is an extension of my body. That's how much I use a pendulum. That's how much I have experience with a pendulum. And so I'm no foreigner to when I'm in that place of going, ooh, I'm in that place where I might get a false positive on this, and I need to do my practice to get back into a place where I can get accurate information. So what are the things that help us get accurate information with a pendulum? The first thing that you need to be doing, and the first thing that I do when I'm working with a pendulum, is making sure that I am, you can't see me, fully, but making sure I am standing, feet, hips width apart, underneath me, shoulders rolled back. Breathe in, breathe out, and make sure that I am in this region. When you're doing a pendulum check, it's really important to get out of your head and get into that core space, because this is where the magnetics are happening. Pendulum checks are less about it being a brain-based thing and more about it being a core body thing. So I really like to make sure I'm in that epicenter of my core, pelvis, solar plexus, heart chakra, right through this core area. And then when I am pendulum checking, once I get into that core area, I'm also tuning into my spirit team, because one of the things you need to know about a good pendulum check is that when you are pendulum checking, you are opening to higher realms for them to drop more information in for you. This becomes kind of like a triad of information, which is very powerful. There's you, there's spirit team, and then there's the pendulum with the crystal on the end of it, which amplifies things. So oftentimes I will be pendulum checking on a certain question, and even before the pendulum answers, spirit team has given me a channel through. So this is very much a higher vibrational, greater realm kind of place practice that's really important. Okay, from that place of being grounded, anchored in your core, opening to higher realm, breathe in, breathe out, then you get very clear on the question. And I guess I've been doing it so long, I don't even think about it anymore. But when I am tuning in with a question, I realize, like as I'm recording this and sharing this with you guys, I'm realizing I go as neutral in my body as possible. I know that sounds kind of crazy. Like, I try to remove all the emotion, all the anticipation, all the agenda. I really just try and open up that space and let the pendulum speak for what it wants to say. That's the whole nature of this beast, is really tuning in and listening to what is the information that's going on that really wants to come through. And really great pendulum checking work allows that to happen. Now, I notice that when I feel like I'm not getting good information, it usually is when I am triggered and I'm not in my body and I'm emotional. So that just gives you an idea of the state of awareness that I'm in when I am working with a pendulum. Okay, the other thing you need to know about me and my work with a pendulum is the fact that I tend to treat pendulum work as tracking. It's kind of like if you were out in a forest and you were tracking a trail, and the leaf here and the twig there and the sun is over there and you hear the water over there. Like, pendulum work to me is tracking work. And I know a lot of people come to my video and they're looking for the zero-sum game. What's the answer that she has? Is that going to be accurate? And I don't really like that. I don't really like that because it takes away from the journey and the tracking and the experience. This is all about, how are we in path? How are we tracking? How are we picking up on the information? How are we receiving what's going on? And what's very interesting about working with a pendulum is that video that I put out for you guys the last time, I would do a question and do the pendulum check on it and get an answer. And then it was as if the pendulum started feeding me the questions. Some of those questions I didn't even have. It was as if this tracking device was showing me the way of the questions. So there was an unfolding happening. So if you are coming to this with, to me, I call it literally what we're fighting with right now, with what's headed into the Trump office right now. If you are coming to pendulum work with the zero-sum game of what I would call in my own work the masculine money mind, that it's all about logic and it's all about structure and it's all about rational and it's all about results and what's the end game, what's the sum game, folks. That's why we're in the situation we're in right now, is because it's all been so patriarchal. And part of us shifting into the rise of the sacred feminine is to begin to honor so much more that intuitive path and the unfolding, and what information are we getting from here so we can make better decisions over here. It's the unfolding of that going on. So I just want you all to take that as food for thought as far as how you view divination how you view divination work. Okay, that's what I've got for you for now, and I will see you in the next video.